Lieutenant Emma Torres had translated for dozens of alien species during her 5 years in the diplomatic corps. Klingon-like warriors, insectoid hive minds, energy beings that communicated through color. But she'd never met anyone like General Vexthra of the Cytharian Empire. The general stood 8 feet tall, her obsidian armor seeming to grow from her silver, scaled skin rather than being worn over it. Twin horns curved back from her temples, and her eyes glowed a fierce violet that made Emma's heart skip every time they locked onto her. She was terrifying, powerful, and had somehow decided that Emma was the only human qualified to translate for her. "Lieutenant Torres will accompany me to the negotiation," Vexthra announced in her deep, resonant voice that made the conference room vibrate. "But General," Ambassador Chen protested, "Lieutenant Torres has been working for 18 hours straight. We have 3 other qualified translators who—" "No." The word was flat, final. Vexthra's violet eyes never left Emma. "Lieutenant Torres understands the nuances of Cytharian honor speech. The others do not. She comes with me, or there is no negotiation." Emma felt heat creep up her neck as every eye in the room turned to her. This had been happening for 2 weeks now, ever since the Cytharian delegation arrived. General Vexthra refused to work with any translator except Emma, refused to let anyone else near her during diplomatic functions, had actually hissed a low, threatening sound that made hardened soldiers step back when a junior officer tried to hand Emma a data pad. "It's fine," Emma said quickly, trying to diffuse the tension. "I can handle another session." Ambassador Chen looked like he wanted to argue, but one glance at General Vexthra's expression made him reconsider. "Very well. Lieutenant Torres, you're with the general." As the room cleared, Emma gathered her translation devices and tried not to notice how Vexthra moved to stand directly behind her, close enough that Emma could feel the heat radiating from her armored form. "You did not need to volunteer," Vexthra said quietly, her voice pitched for Emma's ears alone. "You are exhausted! I can smell it on you! I'm fine, General. It's my job." "Your job is to translate, not to collapse from overwork." A scaled hand, surprisingly gentle, touched Emma's shoulder. "And you will call me Vexthra when we are alone. I have told you this?" Emma turned and immediately regretted it. Vexthra was right there, looming over her, violet eyes intense with something Emma was afraid to name. "That wouldn't be appropriate, General. You're a high-ranking military official, and I'm just a translator." Something dangerous flashed in Vexthra's eyes. "Just a translator?" she repeated, her voice dropping to a growl. "Is that truly how you see yourself?" "That's what I am." "No." Vexthra's other hand came up, and suddenly Emma was framed by those powerful scaled hands, caged but not trapped. "You are the human who learned my language in 3 weeks when others studied for years. You are the one who understands that Cytharian honor, speech is not merely words but intention, context, soul. You are." She stopped, something almost vulnerable crossing her fearsome features. "You are mine to protect." Emma's breath caught. "I don't need protection. I'm just doing my job." "Your job puts you in rooms with warriors who see humans as weak, diplomats who would use you as a pawn, politicians who would not hesitate to harm you to make a point." Vexthra's hands tightened fractionally on Emma's shoulders. "I have killed for less than the disrespect I have witnessed directed at you. You can't just threaten everyone who's rude to me." "I can. I have. I will continue to do so." The absolute certainty in Vexthra's voice should have been frightening. Instead, Emma felt something warm unfurl in her chest. "Why?" she whispered. "Why do you care so much?" Vexthra was quiet for a long moment. Then, carefully, she said, "Because when I speak, you do not merely translate my words. You translate my meaning, my heart. You give voice to thoughts I did not know I had. You make me," she paused, searching for words, "you make me feel understood for the first time in my existence." Before Emma could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Vexthra's entire demeanor changed instantly, from vulnerable to lethal in a heartbeat. "Stay behind me," she commanded, her body already moving to shield Emma. "What's happening?" "Rebels. They have breached the compound." Vexthra's armor began to glow, heating up as her body prepared for combat. "They seek to disrupt the peace negotiations by eliminating key diplomatic personnel." Ice flooded Emma's veins. "They're here to kill the negotiators. Yes, which means they are here to kill you. Vexthra's voice was cold, deadly. That is unacceptable. The door exploded inward. 3 armored figures stormed in, weapons raised. Vexthara moved faster than Emma thought possible, her armored form a blur of silver and violence. She caught the first attacker's weapon and crushed it with her bare hand, then used the momentum to slam him into the wall hard enough to crack the concrete. The second attacker fired directly at Emma. Emma didn't even have time to scream. Vexthra was suddenly there, taking the blast directly to her shoulder. The smell of burned scales filled the air, and through the hole in her armor, Emma could see charred flesh. HFY! Emma lunged forward, but the general caught her with her uninjured arm, keeping her back. I am fine. Stay back. But she wasn't fine. Emma could see her trembling, could see the violet glow of her eyes flickering. The third attacker raised his weapon, aimed at Emma again. And Vexthra, injured and bleeding, threw herself between them once more. What happened next was barely human, barely civilized. Vexthra fought like something primal and ancient, all claws and rage and absolute refusal to let anyone near Emma. She took hits meant for Emma, positioned her body as a shield, and when the last attacker fell, she immediately turned back to Emma, ignoring her own injuries. Are you harmed? Her hands ran over Emma frantically, checking for wounds. Did they touch you? Did any of the weapons' fire reach you? Well, I'm fine, but you're not. You're bleeding. Your armor is destroyed. Irrelevant. Vexthra pulled Emma closer, and Emma realized the general was shaking, not from pain but from fear. They targeted you. They came for you specifically. How do you know? Because I would. If I wanted to hurt me, I would target you. The admission hung in the air between them. Emma stared up at this powerful, terrifying warrior who was looking at her like she was the most precious thing in the universe. You're saying you have a weakness now, Emma said quietly. And that weakness is me? Yes? That's ridiculous. We barely know each other. You're a general, I'm a translator. You're Cytherian royalty, I'm nobody special. You are the Veteiga! The words tore out of Vexthra like they'd been locked away too long. You are the first being in centuries who has looked at me and seen more than a weapon, a rank, a tool of war. You see me, Emma Torres. You hear not just my words, but my meaning. And in doing so, you have become, her voice broke, you have become the only thing in this galaxy I fear to lose. Emma's eyes stung with sudden tears. You took a blast for me. I will take 1,000 blasts for you. I will face armies. I will burn worlds if that is what is required to keep you safe. Vexthra's forehead lowered to touch Emma's, a Cytherian gesture of intimacy Emma had only read about in texts. I know this is illogical. I know you did not ask for this burden, but I am Cytherian, and when we claim something as precious, we protect it unto death. Claim. Emma's voice came out breathless. You've claimed me. From the moment you corrected my grammar in our first meeting, and then apologized for your rudeness. No one has ever apologized to me for being correct. No one has ever treated me as anything other than a rank or a threat. You treated me as a person. Vexthra's violet eyes were luminous. So yes, Emma Torres, I have claimed you. You are mine to protect, mine to defend, mine to... She hesitated, mine to care for, if you will allow it. Security forces burst into the room, weapons raised, taking in the carnage. General, are you injured? Tend to the lieutenant first. Vexthra commanded, not moving from her protective position over Emma. I am functional? You're bleeding out, Emma protested. You need medical attention now. I need to ensure your safety. Medical attention is secondary. That's insane. That is Cytherian bonding instinct. The medic who spoke was also Cytherian, smaller than Vexthra, but with the same silver scales. General, you have imprinted on the human. Your biology will not allow you to prioritize your own well-being over hers. Vexthra's expression turned almost sheepish, an odd look on such a fearsome face. That is possible. Imprinted? Emma looked between them. What does that mean? The medic smiled. It means, Lieutenant Torres, that you are not just her translator. You are her chosen mate. Whether you accept this or not, her body has decided you are essential to her existence. She will protect you above all else, including herself. It is inconvenient. Vexthra supplied. The word you are looking for is inconvenient. I was going to say romantic. the medic corrected. But inconvenient works too. Emma looked at the general, at this powerful warrior who just fought off 3 attackers while injured, who refused medical treatment until Emma was safe, who'd somehow decided Emma was worth dying for. So let me get this straight, Emma said slowly. You've been calling me just a translator this whole time, refusing to let anyone else work with me, threatening people who are rude to me, and positioning yourself between me and any potential danger because your biology decided I'm your mate. Essentially, yes, and you were going to mention this when exactly. I was not. Vexthra had the grace to look embarrassed. Cytherians do not discuss bonding. We simply enact it. I did not realize humans required verbal notification. We require verbal notification for literally everything. I am learning this, despite everything. Despite the bodies on the floor and the smell of burned scales and the absolute insanity of the situation, Emma laughed. It was either that or cry, and she'd seen enough of her own species to know that crying would make Vexthora panic. You're ridiculous, Emma said, reaching up to gently touch an uninjured part of Vexthora's face. You're a general of the Cytherian Empire, one of the most powerful warriors in known space, and you've been acting like an overprotective bodyguard because your biology said so. Less. No hesitation, no shame. And you're bleeding out while arguing about my safety instead of getting medical attention. Also, yes, this is not sustainable. Perhaps not, but it is who I am now. What I am. Vexthra's hand covered Emma's where it rested on her face. You have unmade centuries of training, of self-control, of everything I was taught about appropriate military conduct, and I find I do not care. You're going to get in so much trouble for this. I am a general. I do not get in trouble. I assign trouble to others. Emma laughed again. Okay, we're negotiating new terms. You get medical attention right now. Then we're going to have a very long conversation about this whole imprinting bonding situation. And then, she hesitated. Then maybe we figure out if this can work. The hope that flashed in Vexthra's violet eyes was almost painful to witness. You are not rejecting the bond. I'm not rejecting you, Emma corrected. But we're doing this the human way, which means talking about feelings and expectations and what we both want. Can you handle that? For you, Emma Torres, I can handle anything. As the medics finally got to work on Vexithra's injuries, as security secured the area, as the chaos of the aftermath swirled around them, Emma held the general's hand and thought about how her life had just taken the strangest, most wonderful turn. She'd come to the negotiations as just a translator. Apparently she was leaving as the chosen mate of a Cytherian general who thought threats and violence were appropriate courtship rituals. It was insane. It was dangerous. It was probably going to cause a diplomatic incident. But as Vexthra squeezed her hand gently, carefully, like Emma was something precious that might break, Emma thought maybe insane was exactly what she needed. After all, she'd already learned to translate alien languages. How much harder could it be to translate alien love?